Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Seeker in the house. Good morning to everyone. This is a very sad, tragic story that has been trending on social media for quite a bit of time now. And I just wanted to highlight a few things and to tease out any lessons that can be learned from what we know so far that has been out there on social media. It's a very tragic story, one that really touches the heart of anybody that has siblings, anybody that has sisters, anybody that has a heart would have been touched really deeply about what has been happening. This story has actually been going for quite a few weeks now. The two ladies shown have been missing since about the 27th of April 2024. From what you and I probably know so far, the guy in the middle, the one that is alleged or suspected to have brought harm to these two ladies, from what has been on social media, is now deceased. So, just for the benefit of those who, because this platform is all over the place, if you're not West African or African, you probably haven't even come across the story. And so I'm just going to give a briefing before we actually delve into the ins and outs of the story. Now, yesterday I asked a very simple question, that what is it that would convince a lady to leave their country of birth or abode and go to another country and end up in a man's house, somebody that you don't know, somebody that you've never met physically before. All you know is what they show you on social media. Now, let's start from the very beginning. I'll just put the facts as is on social media. If you Google any of these names here, a lot of information will come up. But for the benefit of those who don't know what is going on, these two ladies, Afiba on the right, Celine on the left of my screen, are two young girls that are friends. Afiba is Ghanaian, Celine is Nigerian. Afiba is married and is supposed to have been living with her husband in Dubai. But Afiba is supposed to be a businesswoman that buys things and sells them all over the place. As far as the husband's account goes, she had gone to Nigeria, in fact, Lagos, and I don't know where else, to get goods and then returned back to Ghana, where she's from. Celine, on the other hand, was in Nigeria. These two have been in touch and have been friends for a long time. Afiba gets to Nigeria, contacts Celine, and somehow Afiba meets up with Celine in Port Harcourt. As to the details of what transpired between the two of them and how Afiba ended up following her friend Celine to go to Aba, a different city, to go visit this Andrew guy, to spend time with him for a couple of days until these two ladies are found alive. We would never understand. I have tried to rack my brains around how this sort of a thing could happen, and I can't for the life of me understand how this is able to happen. But anyway, they get to Andrews. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. When Afiba gets to Port Harcourt to meet Celine, Celine is in communication with Andrew. They had met on Instagram or on social media, they had chatted in the past. 2 whole years had elapsed. Celine hadn't heard from Andrew again from the previous conversation. And then all of a sudden, after 2 years, Celine starts to hear back from Andrew again, or Andrew communicates with Celine, oh, hi girl, how are you doing? And then even asks about Afiba. Now, how does Andrew know about Afiba? Because Celine had posted pictures of her friend on her page, which Andrew had seen. Anyhow, on Celine's phone, there are messages that have transpired between her and Andrew about a meeting. Andrew had invited the two of them to come see him in Aba. The two of them, Andrew is purported to have sent them 100,000 naira to make that journey from Port Harcourt to where he was in Aba. But for some reason, Andrew didn't give them his home address. Instead, they arrived at a hotel complex. And then Andrew met them there, picked them up, and takes them to his house. On arrival, Celine had sent a video of where they were to her friend. And then another message came after that to say that they had been kidnapped, and that was the last correspondence that was received from Celine's phone. On hearing or receiving this message, Celine's friends raised the alarm on this issue that these two girls had been kidnapped. The parents of both sides got involved and they tried to create awareness of what had happened to try and get these girls back or save them. However, to date, there is nothing. I am not hearing anything. I haven't seen anything that proves categorically and emphatically that these girls have been found deceased or alive. I know that there's a body that has been found somewhere not too far away from where Andrew lives, and it was covered up with something that looks like a curtain from Andrew's house. However, until there is some kind of an autopsy done or some kind of proof that can be conducted extensively and exclusively to identify that specimen that was found was either one of these ladies, it is still up to debate. We can only say that they are missing, and there's nothing that has been confirmed by anybody officially to say that this is either one of these girls. Now, the first question that I want to ask in this whole thing is that how is it that two young ladies that don't know a man from Adam, all they know is what they've seen on social media, wound up traveling a long distance from Port Harcourt to Aba to go and visit somebody that they've never seen before physically? You know, I've been talking extensively about how social media is all about what people want you to see about their lives. It doesn't have any way of actually verifying whether the people are who they say they are or what they show you that they are on social media. My question number 2, and I've had a lot of backlash from that post that I put up yesterday asking a very innocent question, that how is it that a lady who is a businesswoman going to transact business in another country end up not where they went to go do this business, buy goods, sell goods, whatever she went to do, and wound up in this guy's place, a far distance away from where she had originally gone to transact this business. Again, Afiba is married. So what business does a married woman have with her single friend? And what did the two of them think was going to happen when the two of them by themselves had gone to see a full-fledged grown man in his house for the weekend? He wasn't their father, he wasn't their uncle, he wasn't their anything. This was just somebody they knew on social media or had chatted to them on social media. I mean, is it that women don't have any safety standards of our own, that this place that I'm going, this person that I'm going to see, do I even know them? Do I know who he is? Where is he from? Do I know anybody that is associated or related to him? Like, are these not questions that ordinary questions that a person would ask themselves before they put themselves in an uncompromising position? You are going to a man's house, a place that he has total control over that place. And you are now going to put your own self in a vulnerable position that you can't escape from. I don't understand. Now, what is the backstory about this Andrew guy? Who is he? Before we, begin this whole conversation, who is Andrew? Andrew has ties, very strong ones, to the UK. Actually, he did his formative years in England, some of it in Surrey, which is in South London. At some point, Andrew is a gas and heating engineer. That's what he trained as, and set up successful companies with huge contracts with Buckinghamshire Council. He looked after a lot of properties and schools and all of those things in Buckinghamshire, of which Milton Keynes, a huge city that a lot of people know about, is. So on the face of things, from everything on social media, Andrew had a successful running business in Milton Keynes and the Buckinghamshire area at large, that county, that council, as we call it in England. Now, he ended up having issue with the law. According to his friend Ben, who has also had a lot to say about this Andrew guy, that Andrew had slapped a woman and had been charged with assault and had spent 2 years confined. Or shall I say incarcerated. After his incarceration, he was released in 2021. Andrew's life took a nosedive because once you have a criminal record in England, and especially that this business was linked to the local government of the area, his businesses or his contracts were all abruptly ended. According to what is out there, Andrew had done really well for himself. He had quite a lot of money, properties, name it. But after his release, this guy didn't know what to do with himself, because without the businesses flourishing, how was he going to keep up with his lifestyle that he had come to understand and love after all these years? But on the account of his friend, Andrew had a huge problem. He had mental health challenges that, according to the friend, could have been and were probably well managed whilst he was there in England. But when he lost everything, because of the assault charges and his, continued incarceration, and he lost his businesses. He became severely depressed. That doesn't take away from the fact that he was a violent person, because there's also this, sexual charge against him, that when you Google it in England, it's there publicly for you to read. He's a wanted man in the United Kingdom. On the account of his friend, he decided then to just leave England and go back to Nigeria, a place that he had little ties, because nobody knows where Andrew was born, but he did all his formative years, all his friends, all his contacts, all his everything seemed to be in England. And so he was going to a place that he knew little or nothing about. Yeah, he's Nigerian in descent, but he doesn't have any ties to the place. So going back to Nigeria seemed like, a weird thing for him to do. But in his frustration and the fact that he couldn't do anything anymore in England, he decided in 2022 to relocate to Nigeria and try and start his life over. Now, this is where all my questions unravel. This guy arrives to Nigeria, is able to take the law into his own hands. Actually, from all the accounts online, Andrew has the Port Harcourt police force, the Aba police force in his pocket. And because he had a lot of money and somehow had succeeded in, being able to bring all the funding or most of his funding from England back to Nigeria, he was loaded. He also apparently, allegedly filed for bankruptcy in England before leaving. Okay, Andrew is now in Nigeria. Andrew set up himself on social media as this affluent guy with a British accent, showing all his lavish houses and cars and all of that past life in England, and befriending young, vulnerable ladies. And these ladies bought into what they were seeing on social media of him, the lifestyle, everything. They were enjoying what they were seeing, and they would chat to him. On the back of the missing two girls on my screen here, Afiba and Celine, there have been so many other girls that are also now coming up to say, I'm a victim too. This thing happened to me. I met him in 2022. He did this. Somebody even said she had gone to see him in January and managed to escape with her life. Andrew is alleged to have thrown a woman, according to the friend Ben, from whatever floor of a building to the ground in anger and rage, because apparently the girl stole his Rolex watch, breaking her spine and being severely injured. Whether this young lady is even still alive or not, only God knows. But the ins and outs of it is that Andrew had become a very dangerous human being, one that should have been behind bars and should have never been allowed to see the light of day again. But because he had bought the security forces in the cities that he was in, both Port Harcourt and Aba, in his back pocket, this guy could do what he wanted with little or no consequence for his actions. Now, on this fateful April 27th day, when Celine has sent the last text message, we've been kidnapped, nobody knows what happened after that. But when the police went to search his house, upon all the request from the families of both ladies, and the police wanting to seemingly act like they were doing something, they found Celine's bag in Andrew's house. They found Celine's debit card in his house, found Celine's phone in his house. When they interrogated him, he said, "Oh, yeah, the girls came to see me, but they had left and he didn't know where they were." Question: how can a lady come to visit a guy and on departure, let's say she suffered from amnesia and forgets her phone and her bag and her card? Can she get very far without these things? Did she not ever come back to come get them? What happened? None of us seem to have any answers to any questions. And these two ladies are still missing, and their families. I can't begin to think what the mothers of these two girls are going through. And I know that there's so many of us who want to draw the conclusion, they are Shao, they are Olosho, whatever you want to call them. But at the end of the day, Olosho or not, these two girls didn't deserve to be missing. And to me, quite frankly, as the days are rolling over, I am starting to not think that these two women are actually still alive anymore. So if my assertion, and I have no proof, but when people are missing, the longer it takes for them to be missing, the slimmer the chance that these two people are still alive, especially when the last victim that has brought herself forward was so badly injured. Don't forget that with every crime that somebody commits, they become better at their game. One question that I haven't heard anybody ask also is that why is it that when things went south for Andrew, that his victims have all been women? What is his beef with women? What is it about women that makes this guy so irritated that even when he forcibly does back and front and all the things that he's been accused of, he brings harm to them? Andrew is not the only guy in this whole wide world that has women that come visit him and do all kinds of things with. Why is it that all of these women wound up not alive or wound up with issues, health issues, life transformational issues? Why? What is his beef with women? And so this whole sexual thing that started from England, when he arrived to Nigeria, were there any alarm bells that rang? Like, did anybody find anything? Why is all of this happening? Why? In Nigeria, is sexual assault considered something that is so important, something that is so severe and so serious that things are done about it? Or is it that when somebody has money, and money speaks, money makes the world go round, people get to do whatever in God's name they want to do because they have money? Those of us who live in the West, those of us who watch movies, know that this kind of a perpetration would never happen in any westernized country. This whole thing just looks like a Nollywood script that has been written playing out before our very eyes, like some Nollywood movie that is being acted out by these people before our very eyes. Another thing that I will never in my lifetime understand is how somebody that has been accused of these hideous crimes is able to drive their own Mercedes Benz, their own car, and transport their own self from Aba towards Abuja. I can never understand that, ever. Because in the part of the world that some of us find ourselves, when you are accused of something, even before you're charged officially with that thing, all kinds of things happen. You're arrested, you're handcuffed. In some jurisdictions, even your feet are chained, and you're put in some onesie, escorted by all kinds of people, and you're not able to get very far with your legs tied and chained. You can only but stretch your foot, probably a foot at a time, till you get where you're supposed to get to. And people who haven't even done anything have been taken into custody like this. So how is it that somebody that has been accused of people coming to see him, people getting missing, and these sorts of things have happened, be allowed to sit in their own vehicle, their own Benz, to be transported from one place to a whole new different place? Apparently, this whole journey took about 3 to 4 days. This guy slept in hotel rooms with police officers. They drank, they ate, they fell asleep and left him, fully awake on this journey from Aba back to Abuja. How is that able to happen? And according to the friend and all the messages that he's been publishing, on this journey, when the man had been incarcerated or so-called arrested and was being taken, because the families of these two missing girls didn't think that the Aba police were doing anything. So they had petitioned for this to become a proper issue in a huge or bigger jurisdiction. The IGP needed to step in. And so this case was being moved to Abuja. According to accounts, the police in Aba didn't even want to release this whole file nor the suspect to their higher forces, the superiors. It doesn't make any sense. And then a criminal, somebody who has been, charged or accused, allegedly or otherwise, of these hideous crimes, isn't flown. I don't understand that either. This is a long journey. This person isn't flown, no. They are able to drive their own car. Is the car a specimen? Did they find something in the car? Why was that car being moved to Abuja with the suspect at the helm of the car? Why? All the things that they had found, the laptops, computers, the lady's bag, the phone, the cards, all of these things were in the trunk of this accused man and being transported from where he had been arrested to the bigger place called Abuja. How did that happen? How? The questions are endless, answers not to be found. And what really makes me so shocked in this whole thing is that the police, the Nigerian police, till today, as we are talking, doing this live video, have remained stum about the whole thing. I haven't seen any press release. I haven't seen them doing any press conference. I haven't seen them do nothing till today. When this man that they were transporting, apparently there was an incident. The guy tried to get away. And unfortunately, they had to delete him. Like, the whole thing is just so bizarre. Doesn't make an iota of sense. This guy is allowed to travel with a GUN in the trunk of it, like in the car with him. How is that possible? And when this issue was first reported, apparently the guy was arrested for 2 weeks in Aba. And whilst he was there in incarceration, he was living the luxurious life, apparently behind bars. Was this behind bars in his house, or was it in a police station? Whatever it was, this guy could do whatever he had his phones. He was watching what was unfolding on social media. He had the time to make all his accounts, his Facebook, Instagram, name it, all private accounts. So that none of the stuff that he had posted there is now public for other people to have access to. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that that is able to happen in Africa, in Nigeria. It's unbelievable. So is a person safe in Nigeria? If anybody travels to go see Nigeria and anything happens to them, are they safe in Nigeria? I have a lot of Nigerian friends. I love the socks off. But if these sorts of things are able to happen, do I feel safe wanting to go visit Nigeria? I watch so many Nollywood movies. I love Nigerians. I love the culture. I love the music, everything. Would I feel safe to go to Nigeria when things like this are able to happen without any consequence? And the answer is an emphatic no. Unfortunately. How would you feel? How would you feel if this happens to somebody that you know? And I know there's so many people, they got what is coming to them. It's their own fault. And they allowed this to happen to them. Whatever. Does that mean that because they sell their bodies, if that is what you are alleging, does it mean that they deserve what is happening? Whether they're alive or not. Is that what they deserve? That somebody you sign an agreement, whether verbal or written, with somebody. Hey, come, make we have fun. Oh. I go give you my body, make we enjoy it. And because of that, what they deserve is to not be alive anymore or to be missing. Is that what we're saying? That some faction of society, because they have money, can do whatever the hell they want, and there doesn't have to be no consequence for what they've done. I mean, come on. I'm not condoning what happened. I'm not condoning what these girls did. I'm not saying that there aren't serious questions to ask. But I'm saying that if you are alleging or assuming that these girls went there to transact body to body business with this guy, does that mean that they need to wound up missing? Wound up where we don't even know what exactly has happened to them. One thing though that the husband said, thank you so much, Sister Shaila, Mr. Kwame, Miss Delpine, Marian, good morning to everybody. But one thing that Afiba's husband talked about in his own summation or narration of what his account of what happened was, he said that when his wife was befriending Celine, and there's another girl called Blessing, he had his misgivings about them. He didn't know them. He says he doesn't have anything against them. He doesn't know them, but he just didn't feel that their influence on his wife was a good thing. And he had cautioned his wife severally about these two girls. And she always defended them, that they weren't like that. From everything that is out there, it looks like Celine was the one that this guy was chatting to set up the deal for the two of them to come for this visit. Was Afiba aware that ₦1,000,000 was the price for the two of them entertaining this man for the weekend? Was she? Wasn't she? Under what conditions was Afiba traveling with her friend from Port Harcourt to Aba? Is there any evidence of the communication between the two of them upon getting on that taxi that left Port Harcourt and took them to that hotel in Aba where this man picked them from? Like, there's so many unanswered questions. So many unanswered questions. But a few things that I wanted to highlight is that, so when is it that the Nigerian police, on such a high profile case that has had international interest, because it's not just about Nigeria anymore, it involves a Ghanaian, it involves all of us here on social media here now talking about this issue. What is it going to take for somebody in their security forces to open their mouth finally and tell us what happened by their own account? And is it true that whilst they were transporting this man from where the crime was originally committed to Abuja, they were still extorting monies from him? Is it true? How did Andrew wound up not with us anymore? Because the truth about what happened to these young girls lies with one person and one person alone. Now, this one person has been deleted. There are all kinds of gory imagery on social media that's corpse that has been, put all over the place, from Twitter to Instagram to everywhere, that corpse, that specimen is actually him, Andrew. And the whole narrative is that he tried to escape, and then when he got to a police checkpoint, he tried to do an about face and ran away from the police in the opposite direction, and they had no other choice but to open GUN on him and delete him from here. There's so much. And the silence of the authorities is so palpable. We can hear the silence. And I don't for the life of me understand how to date nobody in a position of authority has said anything about this issue. I can't understand that. I can't. And the longer the suspicion and the talking and everything, everybody assuming and making their own conclusion on this issue goes on, the less credible the security forces are proving to all of us that they are. Me, oh, as much as I love my own people, my Naija brothers and sisters, I love you so much, but I'm sorry. At this particular point in time, I would not be recommending to anybody I know that they should step foot there, because if anything happens, they are done. If anything happens and you don't know anybody, oh, if Tinubu is not your brother, you are done. And that is a very hard statement for me to make. It is. As an African girl that loves Africa so much, always wants to talk so highly and bring everybody, come and see what we have to offer. I'm sorry. But right now, uh-uh. I used to have dreams of seeing all these lovely places in Nigeria. I want to go see it. I want to see what it's like. I want to enjoy. I want to eat the food. How can I convince anybody if these are the sorts of things that happen? A whole city police force can be in somebody's pocket. And now it's just too bad. And it's so, so sad. So, what really happened? Was this guy acting alone? I personally don't believe that. That one person has so much power that he's able to do whatever he wants and get away with it. I personally think he has help. There are other people that are involved in this. And if we really want to know the truth, we ought to stop shaming the people that have brought themselves forward. Like this woman, this young girl that was talking about what she had been through. She also would have a lot of credible information, having been to that same house, that can help with investigation. I pray to God that, whatever it is, that these two young ladies are found. Their families are going through so much. I know these things have been going on for a long time, my brother Kwame, but ah, does it mean that because it just goes on, we should normalize it? And, it's like, yeah, these things happen every day. So does it make it acceptable though? And I know that there's so many victims that we probably don't know nothing about, because maybe their families didn't have the ability, the connections to make noise about what happened. But if it's going to take this case to highlight an issue, then something ought to be done about it. And I've seen a lot of Nigerians and bloggers who are up in arms saying that they don't want, these nuts in the system to destroy their whole country and make it a place that people like me are so scared to ever step foot in. If I ever called my parents and told them that I was going to Nigeria, they would have a heart attack. Honestly, they would, because that place has this, unfortunately, has been rendered a place that is unsafe, that you can just go there and you can just disappear overnight. Why? 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 Why are there no answers? Why? Why is it that when this whole thing started, that lady that survived, she told her story about how she went to talk to the police and she rather had to pay money to avoid herself getting into bigger trouble. The victim, the person that is telling you this happened to me. It's beyond me. Like, this can only happen in Africa, Nigeria. This can never happen anywhere else. You and I both know this. This is not the first time this has happened in my state in 2021. But the masterminder was sentenced. Yeah, but obviously, my brother, he wasn't the only one, was he? Because this guy, Andrew, had issues from England. If the systems that be in Nigeria were credible, because now Interpol is all over the place. Like, people have connections with other countries for a reason. How is it that this guy that is wanted in the United Kingdom is able to have leeway to hide, to hide, but still be public, doing what he wants? He has so many aliases in names. He's called, Andrew. He's called Amechi. He has a surname. I mean, how is this able to happen? How has Nigeria become a safe haven? How has it become a safe haven for somebody that had no ties? Yeah, he's Nigerian, blah, blah. But how is he able to live in that place and commit hideous crimes or be accused of hideous crimes and there's no consequence? How? How is that able to happen? That is the question that I'm asking. Can you just imagine what these two girls, what their families are dealing with, what they're going through every day that these girls are not found? Is it's like the percentage of them still having breath in them. There's a certificate for the snitch drug dealer as president. So what do you expect? Oh my God. I am very shocked that an international case like this, it doesn't seem to matter to anybody in office. Nobody. No women affairs, no nothing. So, all the people that have done so much, our sister Just Adetun, our brother Harrison, and all the other people that have been actively involved in this issue. So if they hadn't done anything, what would have happened? What would have happened? This will all just be swept under the carpet and would be allowed to continue. And the bigger question is, how many other Andrews are there of thinking of going there? Oh, if Andrew can do it, I can do it better. And are still going to be going into that place and having victims willy nilly. The only thing that I can say to my sisters, if you have ears to hear the sound of my voice, is this. Because there's so many people, oh, but this could have happened to anybody. There are other people who have also gone to meet people they don't know, and it's ended up being the best thing that happened to them. Have you ever watched Tinder Swindler? It's a movie. It used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it's still there, but if you haven't seen it, darling, you need to go watch that movie. Tinder Swindler. Have you seen it? It just seems to me that security is taken as a higher issue and a priority in the Western countries than it is back in Africa. Because the children here are given certain skills, and cognitive reasoning, like critical thinking skills. That safety has been embedded into the children that are born and raised here, that I'm just not seeing. From all these different cases, people getting missing, girls going to guys, and all sorts of things happening, not just this case, doesn't seem to be apparent back in Africa. And that needs to change. That needs to change. Because if you meet any young girl here, go to this person's house. Have they been invited? Do they know the people? Have they met them before? They don't know them. On and on and on and on. Why did they have to go to his house? This is the first time you're meeting somebody. Why did you have to travel to go to his house to get to know somebody you haven't seen before just on social media? I don't understand that. How? How is that possible? When you meet somebody online, whether it's a dating site, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, those mediums are just a place. It's just like you went outside and you met somebody. Don't you at least try to get to know them? Who they are, what their connections are, who their links are with? Don't you at least try to do that before you think that you're safe enough to be in the same space with that person? I remember back in England, there was this incident where this woman had met this guy online and had invited him over to dinner in her house. And she wound up deleted after that. And there was a whole public thing. It's like, the security forces went into schools in London and talking to young girls about what they needed to do to protect themselves. None of these things seem to be happening where you and I come from. And young ladies like Afiba, from the account of the husband, who says he's an engineer, money doesn't seem to be an issue for them. They were living in Dubai. She's a businesswoman. She buys things and all of that. He's an engineer. So the question is, why? Why? What did she go there to Aba to go and do? What was she looking for? Question. There are all these questions, but no answers. And so, my sister, once and for all, not all that glitters is gold. There's so many things out there. Andrew is a psychopath. He's this, he's that. They could have never known. This could have happened to anybody. Maybe it's true. Even after knowing him for 10 years, he could have still gone ahead and did what he did to them. But trust me, when you know somebody long enough, they slip up at some point. They do something. There's a trail. There's something that is off with people when you take the trouble to understand them better. And that question about what Andrew has, what beef he has with women, that is a big question that needs to be answered too. Why are all his victims women? Why? What did women ever do to him? Question. Big question that needs answering. And now all the people that he sent information to, information that can really help hasten this issue. If they know anything, like if he gave any clues to anybody about where these girls are, I beg, let somebody know. It's about time we give this family the well-deserved closure, whatever it is. Alive, not alive, they deserve closure. because this is just a tragic issue, a tragic problem, a tragic story. This isn't how the story should end at all, in any case, regardless of what you think of the two of them. A married woman and a single woman with a single older guy. No matter what we think of them being deleted is not what they deserve. It's not a prerogative to decide who should be given capital punishment for what. But to young girls, young ladies out there, please, I beg you, don't be fooled by all these niceties that you see on social media and believe that that is what people really have. That's what they're really going through. This is all theirs. Because there's so many young women out there that are flaunting things that don't even belong to them and making other people have all this kind of pressure. If this person that I sat in the same classroom with is owning this 3-story building and has this car and has this, that, and the other, I must also get it by any fair or foul means. My sister, the only sort of work that gives you peace of mind at the end of the day, allows you to sleep at night and not worry about anything, is what you do with your 10 fingers and your 2 arms for yourself. Because nobody can take that from you, ever. Any other way is not the way. Hard work, it pays eventually. It takes time for everybody to become who they become. Don't think that you can cut corners. You can cut corners to become anything. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man or woman, but the end thereof is complete and total destruction. Young ladies, you are so beautiful. You are so pretty. You have so much potential in you. It is better to hustle hard for your own, something that you can put to your hand to your chest and be proud of, no matter how insignificant you think it is, than to try it any other way. I don't know what Celine did for a living. I don't know who she was, how she afforded all the things that she was also, putting up on social media. I don't know. But all these young women have thousands and thousands of young girls looking at them and thinking that that life is real. And that if these people have it, then me too, automatically, I must to get up. But I don't want to do any hard work in order to have that life. Everything starts from little and becomes plenty. What is yours is yours. And nobody can take that away from you. But when you try to use other means, let me use this faster way. This guy is well off. If I go to him, my life will be different. If he marries me now, I will also be entitled to everything he has. Do you really honestly think that all the men out there that are made, the time that they were struggling, they didn't meet you at that time? And if you had met them at that time, you would have wanted nothing to do with him at that time. Let me turn this question a different way. If Andrew's platform showed a hut, wooden or mud hut in Aba State, or some compound house with a lot of different tenants in different rooms and children running around, would Celine ever even think to chat to this man? That's probably an emphatic no. But all of these young women are attracted to the niceties. And that is the hook. That is the hook. And a lot of people are being hooked by that. If Andrew was living in some, mud thatched house in some village, and he had posted that on social media, which young girl will even talk to him? All that glitters is absolutely never gold. It is better to meet somebody and be a part of the building, so that at the end of the day, you can reap together. And there's so many people that have, poured into others, and in the end, they've been disappointed by it. But this is definitely not the way. If these girls, if Efiba had come to Nigeria, buy her things, talk to her friend said, oh, let's go to Abao. She said, no, I have to go back to Ghana now. And finally go back to Dubai, and went back to her husband, she will still be alive today. If Celine had turned down that proposal, or said to, oh, you rather come to us in Port Harcourt and take us out to lunch, and they just sat out in the open with other people and ate lunch and went back to their houses, they would have still been alive. There are so many unknowns. There's so many things that don't make sense. A lot of things that I don't understand and you don't understand. But this can also be a stepping stone of advice to my younger sisters. Not all that glitters is gold. The only thing that gives you your own satisfaction, thank you so much, Hannah, too, is when you work with your own 10 fingers and your 2 hands. Nobody can take your own hustle away from you. Your quest to get rich quick ends you in uncompromising situations that you oftentimes can't come back out of. I really pray for these families and these young girls. It's been like 3 days now. I haven't been able to sleep properly at night, just thinking about what is happening. It's shocking. But if this is what our generation, like the next generation after, if this is what they think is the life, then it's just so sad. It really, really is. And young people need to use social media as a tool to put out their skills. There's a lot happening on social media. This same social media that some people use for fun and entertainment only. Some people have a whole business brewing on this same social media. It's like a marketplace. And you decide how you're going to use it to influence you positively. Falling for the trimmings and, the flamboyant, glossy lifestyle out there oftentimes leads to total destruction. I cannot tell you whether you should meet a guy online or if you shouldn't. But if you don't do your own due diligence about these people, investigate them, Where have they come from? Who are they? How many people do we know that have had horrible endings because they met somebody online? How many people? And so please, please, my sisters, think about your life. Think about your parents. Think about the sacrifices that they made to get you where you are today, and make smarter choices. Because one wrong move, it's not just about you and your life, but it's your family. And if you love your family, you do the right thing. If Celine hadn't sent that last message, if she didn't even have the opportunity to do that, this trail would have gone cold. And that would be the end of this story. And so, young people, young ladies, please stop putting yourself in vulnerable places. Thank you so much, Despine. God bless you, Auntie. Stop putting yourself in positions that are uncompromising, and you wound up being the vulnerable person that can't get out of your issue easily. At least in Western cultures, when things go on, there's a 911 button that some people can press. In fact, some phones have it as emergency, and when you call it, it dials and connects straight up to the police. Even if you're not talking. These days, with the advent of iPhones, they can track and know your location, and somebody will come to your rescue. Obviously, that technology is non-existent back in Africa. And so, my ladies, please take better care of yourself. Your life matters. You're the ones that are going to be, championing the next generation when some of our times have ended here on earth. Make that time of yours, that life of yours, make it count for something. And don't throw yourself away as if you're worth nothing. And to those people saying they got what they deserve, is good, that it happened to them, you don't have a heart. I've seen a lot of men saying all kinds of things. I'm like, wow, you don't have a heart. And some of these people, they are doing horrible things to their own wives at home. Don't have any regard for women. So if two people die, so what? If two people get missing, so what? The shoe only pinches your toe when it is your foot that is inside that shoe. And so sometimes show a little bit of empathy for people. And the last thing I would say is that please, Nigerian police force, I beg, your silence is too, palpable, audible. We can hear your silence. It is time you speak up on this issue. Not the president, not the foreign affairs minister. Nobody is saying anything. Like, is there a commissioner for Aba? Is there somebody in Abuja? Why are everybody quiet? Why? Why? Why is nothing being said about this thing? I don't understand. Why? There needs to be some kind of justice. Andrew being deleted. And some people don't even believe that he's been deleted, self. Even with all the evidence, people still don't believe that this guy, that he's been deleted. They've seen, body, they've seen everything, but some people still don't believe that that's what has happened. Look at these two beautiful women. whatever has happened to them, they deserve justice. We deserve to know. This story cannot go cold just because the person who is accused has allegedly been deleted. This story must go on until these two ladies and whoever else was a victim has been found. Missing, alive, not alive, we need to know. And the bigger lessons about how systematically the system, the security system in Nigeria has failed women. That tide, it needs to change. When women come up to say, this happened to me, don't rubbish what they're saying. Investigate. That tide, it needs to change. If there are any further updates on this horrible story, horrible, utter horrible story, be sure that we will talk about it. I ask for grace for all the people, all the bloggers, all the people that are out there working day and night. I saw Mr. Harrison, the human rights activist. This guy has been all over the place on this issue. May God bless you and all the people that are bringing this to the fore. God bless all of you, every single one of you. And I pray that this issue comes to some logical conclusion. And with no evidence of these people, these young ladies being deleted, that they are still alive and well somewhere and can tell us what really happened to them as a lesson to everybody. May the heavens bless each and every single one of you that have been here today. Auntie Delphine, Hannah too, Patricia, Sheriff, Inem, Mr. Kwame, Eve, Sister Sheila, Marian, Irene, everybody. May the good Lord bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Stay beautiful and handsome. And remember, these are human beings that have families, that are seeking justice for their children, for their siblings, for their families, for their wife, for their children, for their daughters, nieces, whatever. And if there is anybody that has any information that can help in this investigation, I beg, find somebody you can trust. To me, one of the people is Mr. Harrison, and help move this issue forward until these young ladies are found and we can all rest and move on with life. God bless us all. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. Mwah. Bye for now.